Fun.
Welcome back, Sports Card Culture Podcast number 17. It's February 22nd, 2021.
Let's do it.
What a week, man. I feel like I've lived like two months of my life in the last week.
So,
I'm trying to remember where we left off.
Before we started, I was ridiculing Clint for not reading chapter 2 of the book.
Yeah.
And he proceeds to tell me how much more important he is than I am. So tell us about your day today, Clint. What'd you do? This is a day in the life of an entrepreneur.
So this morning, I think I was up about 7:30. Drank some coffee, which is the way it always has to start. Drove to St. Croix Falls. A guy that, and this actually, I was funny. I was talking to my dad. My parents are in Florida, and they called just to check in. And I had some drive time, so I was like, all right, let's chat. And I said, one thing this morning I realized is this guy who set up this deal to buy some vintage. This is my third deal with him over the course of like 5 years. So literally one of our first deals we ever did at the shop was related to this. I went into this antique shop in Taylor's Falls. This guy had some sports cards. I gave him my business card.
No.
He called me a few months later. I bought some stuff from him. Then he literally proceeded to like give me a lead 2 years later on some vintage, some 39 play ball. There was actually a Joe DiMaggio rookie in there. And then he texted me a month ago. He's like, hey, I got another guy. This guy from Wisconsin.
Oh,
he
very
actually
cool.
he lives in Northern Illinois. He said I knew him from high school. He's got some vintage. He said, are you interested? He texted me some pictures, Hank Aaron rookie, and some other good 50 stars, really low grade stuff. But I'm like, yeah, we're interested. So I drove out there. We did that deal with another guy, looked through all the vintage, bought that. Then he actually has stuff still at the antique store. So I drove over there with him.
Did you know that was part of the plan?
No, but that was kind of my, like, thank you to him for setting up the deal. I'm like, hey, I'll spend some money with you, too. One of the coolest pieces, I just took an absolute flyer on it. He had a helmet signed by the first 24 Super Bowl MVPs.
Oh,
Think
wow.
about this for a second. So you got Bart Starr. You got, Aikman, Rice, Montana.
Who are some of the older ones? I'm trying to think. All right, let's keep talking. I'll look it up.
Not Unitas. Len Dawson, Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris.
Okay.
I mean, it was star. I mean, not many guys you wouldn't have heard of that won the MVP of a Super Bowl. A couple defensive players, but not that many.
Yeah, who's the Cowboy one that I always forget? The cornerback.
Now that might have been after this point. Because
probably was.
I literally think it ended like mid to late 90s was the last one.
Joe Namath, Len Dawson,
Namath, yep. Staubach was on there.
Zonka.
I mean,
Lynn Thwan.
I mean, talk about star-studded.
Blinkikoff. I got that name right.
Blitnikoff, yeah. Blitnikoff.
Montana.
Which funny story? Did I ever tell you a story about my mom actually dated one of the Raiders? A guy named Mike Davis played safety for the Raiders.
Oh, cool.
So she dated him for 2 years. Well, after my parents got married, she kept a relationship with him like friends. And they actually they gave tickets to my parents numerous times. And one time my dad got hurt. Mike Davis got hurt. He was the starting safety on a bunch of those Super Bowl teams. And my dad got to go into the locker room and got to meet like Fred Blitnikoff.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that was when
what year would have that been?
was when John Madden was the coach. It would have been like late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, Blitnikoff, yeah, he won as a receiver.
Larry Brown, for those keeping
Larry Brown
score at home. Larry Brown had 2 interceptions in that game.
Wow. And so literally, this guy has this helmet, and it's autographed by all these guys with like a COA from a bank in New Jersey. And there's only 5 of these. And I looked at all the autographs that I knew. I know Montana's autograph.
If there were 500, I would be immediately suspicious of the item.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and so they had $6,000 tag on it. And the guy's like, "Hey, I'm looking to get $2,000, but I'm selling it for this guy. We can call him." He also had 4 Derek Jeter autographs. One was JSA'd. The other 3 weren't, but they all looked good to me. 3 photos and a baseball. So I called him. I'm like, "Hey, I'll take a flyer on this helmet, but I need it cheaper than that." So I ended up paying like $1,200 for the 4 Jeters and the helmet.
Now let's be clear why you couldn't invest. So the helmet is worth more than $2,000. Not a problem, but why is it you're hesitant to put money into it? like that because...
Well, partly because the authentication. If the authentication was JSA or PSA, it would have been a lot easier.
That's not the part that would have worried me. I was kind of going down the line of you have no idea when the thing's going to sell.
I have no idea when it's going to sell. All I can say is if I look at the names, I figured in my mind they have to be worth $100 a piece average, and that's $2,500. And the helmet's worth $500 by itself. It's like a authentic, not game worn, but it's an authentic, and it's got Super Bowl MVP as like the logo.
Yeah, and then a lot of times we have to do that on weird pieces like that. We go like, well, how much would it cost to put it together?
Right.
Now you can't use that number. It's worth less than that number. Because it's one of those things where the part's actually worth less than
the whole.
The total is worth less than the sum of the parts.
Some of the parts.
Because if you took like each signature and put it on like a really good single item.
Yep.
That single item would be worth a heck of a lot more than that.
Like
one
a Montana
signature.
On a helmet alone would be like $400 or $500.
Right.
But with Rice and all those guys, it doesn't necessarily. It's not a multiple.
Now, what's nice about the helmet is it's a good piece. So for people that don't collect autographs, like multi-sign items that don't make any sense
aren't good.
Are really bad. They don't sell for anything.
But
so
like a Hall of Fame helmet with all guys that are in the Hall of Fame, like every Hall of Famer.
Right.
Super
That's a great piece. So like, but it even works on the same team. So you really have to have a narrative with that. So if you go, I got Fran Tarkenton, Adrian Peterson, and Chris Carter. What? There's three. Okay, they're all Viking Hall of Famers, but so what? Like, who cares? However, in the next K-Bit auction, I got a Purple People Eater, large print frame, and it's all four signed by the four Purple People Eaters. That's a great multi-signature item. Because it ties together a narrative.
Yep. It's not like, hey, I randomly showed up at Twins Fest and just got every twin I could.
Well, usually that's preseason. What do you call it? Training camp. It's training
or spring training for baseball.
I'll get a hat, and I'll go, oh, it's a training camp hat. Because it's the same guys every time, because the same guys show up, and then whoever the new rookies are, and I'm like, I hate this hat.
Which, by the way, on this helmet, what gave me confidence in buying it at that amount was there was one similar comp that had Tom Brady, and it sold for almost $7,000.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, Brady's worth a few thousand by himself, but almost the rest of the helmet was the same. And it was a similar type. It was all Super Bowl MVPs, but it went a few years later.
Oh, so like you went to Super Bowl 24, and then Tom Brady got the MVP for the rest of the Super Bowl since then.
Yeah.
That's how that's gone down, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
feels like it.
I don't think he has not won every MVP of every game.
How many has he won? Is he 4?
He's won 7 games, but I think Deion Branch won one, and I think. Well, and then Edelman won the one against the Falcons, right?
Okay.
So I think he's won 5 out of the 7.
Oh, 5 out of 7.
So,
anyway.
But I mean, obviously, good. Brady would be the crowning piece on a helmet if you had a current like Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
So then I took off much quicker than I wanted to because we finally got a shipment from PSA that left their warehouse 14 days ago. Finally showed up.
Mailed 14 days
Sat in Memphis for 7 days during the.
Oh, it's the USPS problem.
Yeah, so that's actually FedEx, but I don't know if you saw PSA actually has something on their website right now.
I saw that.
Delays, both outbound and inbound. So we finally got an order. We got 2 orders, one with those Jordans, one with another like 110 cards, and so called all the customers, and lots of guys came in and picked up, dropped off. And
what was the best item out of the 110?
The best item was one of our customers hit a PSA 10 Topps Kobe rookie. Those are about $10,000. Wow. When he sent it, it was $1,000 card.
And then you've sold that card before in the beginning years of the store. How much you sell for it?
Yeah, $100 all day.
$100.
Literally, that card, I always remember a 10 being 100. So I was
like,
I think there's only a 9. I'm not going to grade it because it's only 40.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. It's amazing what... How long you had the store? 6 years?
5 years.
5 years? 5 years. So, all right. So we had a little technical difficulties, but the man, the GOAT, Evan fixed it. So we were talking about Kobe 10s used to be 100 something, now 10,000.
So that's 100x return. That's big.
5 years.
That's wild, actually, when I think about it.
All right. So now
Kobe's market is actually really strong. For those of you guys listening, I couldn't believe because in this last order we sent. we personally sent about 10 rookies.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some of them where I was like, oh, man, we got an 8 or we got a 9. I was and I looked up an 8 on an SP, and it was $150. I'm like, that was what a 9
Well,
was.
I just sent off a Kobe Galaxy, Metal Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bought it, the last sale was like $300 raw.
Yep.
And so right as I sent it, I looked it up real quick. The last sale was $1,500. This is literally in a month, I want to say, 6 weeks.
Yeah, Kobe stuff right now, I think it's a time to sell. I looked up.
It gets to the point where it becomes absurd.
Yeah.
For the price as to what it is.
Right. And the availability, part of it is, though, I think what we're experiencing is the availability of raw cards is high, but the availability of graded cards is really low because people that have sent them in the last 2, 3, 4 months know it's going to be 7 months. So I'm not going to, like, I just got graded cards back we sent them the last week of May. So literally, like, it didn't. If I went out and bought a collection today and sent the Kobe's 2 months ago, I won't have them for 5 months. So the market is like in this vacuum. Of
right.
Like, where are the graded cards? Where
So do you think once you think there's going to be a massive flood at some point, and then just the market's going to be saturated?
I think the demand right now is so much higher.
You think it's going to vacuum it all up?
It's vacuuming it all up right now. I mean, and to be honest, with the amount of people. I hear so many of my regular customers pick up their graded cards, and they're like, we're not selling these. Like, so, like, you think there's this huge, like, a lot of these guys are just, like, holding all their cards.
Well, the other thing, too, is you could argue, especially on those cards like the Kobe Top 10, is all these companies doing fractional ownership. Mm-hmm. They have almost no inventory to do the fractional ownership. They need hundreds of Kobe 10s to own.
And not only that, all the repack companies like Leaf.
Yeah.
A lot of these buyback companies are looking for like
the card
fantasy sports breaks, right? They need thousands and thousands of slabs for their next year basketball product, and so they're buying those up just as fast as anybody. And so I mean, I don't see it slowing down. We don't have graded cards last on the shop. Like so, one of our guys picked up some graded cards, and I literally sold him a few slabs right out of my box. I hadn't even I just looked up the comps. Like that's how.
Well, you were making fun of me last week because I had a 100-card Ultramodern order come back, 100 cards, and you were like, "Oh, you're gonna list these anytime soon?" And it's like, the funny thing was, I sold like 6 cards. People just go, "What's in your pile?" And I just showed it to them. Can I have this? And I looked up price. Yeah, I'll take it. I didn't have to list it. Didn't have to. And I had fun talking to my customer about it.
And you're like, man, I'm getting way more than I'd ever get for that card.
Right,
even in a 9.
Oh, absolutely. So you want to talk about market movers? I got a name. I'm curious. I don't think he's going to be on there, but I think he'll be on there in the next 2 weeks, maybe. Now, he has doubled, and it's a guy that I like a lot that I mentioned before is Jared Allen.
Yeah.
He is, because Drummond did he already get traded or is he just bent?
No, he's benched.
He's just bent. I haven't even traded him yet. The what?
Benched until he gets traded. They don't want him to get hurt or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And so what happened is Jared Allen is the man. He's the guy. He's getting like.
Where are they playing? Where's Jared Allen?
Cleveland.
Oh, he's with Cleveland.
And so it's like 18 and 15 rebounds the other day. Or he might have had more points. Might have been 22 and 15 rebounds. But I loved him as a player. I thought he was just a great player. I did not foresee a trade to a team with another all-star center, and then they were going to trade that center, and now he's the guy.
The problem I see, I like Jared Allen. I think there's definitely some upside. As far as, like, big upside, I can't think of a single guy apart from Shaq in the last 30 years that sells extremely well that cannot shoot a jump shot extremely well.
I don't know enough about him to know how well he shoots.
He's not a good shooter. I mean,
he's not a good shooter.
No, I mean he's just not a.
When I watch him play, he looks like Tatum.
No,
but I guess Tatum can shoot. Is what you're telling me.
No, Tatum can. Tatum hit a game winner the other night that was just nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Tatum can shoot from 3 too. So like, you think about the big guys, like even Garnett can shoot.
Yeah.
The big guys.
Garnett was
like Duncan could shoot, and so could, so can Embiid, so can Towns, and so like a guy who's strictly a big man in the sense of like a Rudy Gobert or Jokic can shoot well, so he doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
But now I think Jared Allen was so undervalued that like he could become.
No,
like
he was.
Rodman,
I picked up Noir rookie autos for 30. Yep. Last sale was 70. So he's doubled in
Yep.
probably a week. There's not a lot of noir to go around, but
when listed at 100, and just wait till it hits your.
yeah, I'm not even listing him yet. I'm gonna wait for 2 weeks of just dominance.
Yeah.
And just be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. The problem is, well, Cleveland's getting better. I think they're decent.
It's an interesting team because it's Allen, Sexton, Garland, Okoro. Okoro's a very good rookie. But he's a defensive specialist, so I don't think from a card standpoint he's good, but from a winning team standpoint.
I still think the best buy in the hobby, I'm just going to let everybody in on it, and I'm not even buying him as aggressively as I am, but I am working a deal this week to buy 20 of his Topps Chrome rookies.
Okay.
Kevin Durant is way too undervalued. Kevin Durant should be outselling everyone except for LeBron and maybe Curry, and he's literally underselling Luka. He's underselling.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's underselling guys like.
He shouldn't be underselling Luka. He shouldn't be under Luka.
He should not be under Tate. He shouldn't be under Mitchell. I mean, there's cards of Kevin Durant.
He's under Mitchell?
Certain cards, yes.
Wow.
I mean, like paper, like. Now it's
kind of hard
not quite the same because Mitchell has so many more cards. Like Durant didn't have now, but like we looked up today, we got back a Fleer Prospects.
Yeah, hot prospect.
The newcomers card or whatever. 10 Durant, and I'm thinking to myself, and Mike's like, I want that one. I'm like, yeah, man, you should put that in your collection. I'm thinking, it's probably like a $500-$600. It's like $300 or $400. And I'm like, that is way too cheap. When you see LaMelo Ball selling raw for $200, a Kevin guys. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world, and it's not even close. Kevin Durant healthy is the best player in the world. LeBron, I'm sorry, your day has come. It's gone. Like, you're good.
I saw some.
That's nice. Let's keep that rolling. More of those, just without the sound. I mean, LeBron is good, and I think LeBron is the safest investment. But Durant has so much.
Durant very much is. So we like to liken the stocks a lot. So, Durant's Coke. LeBron's Coke, but like Durant is
Dasani. No, I don't know.
Actually,
they're owned by like.
It's one of those ones where it's a large company, but they're still early in their development. So, Amazon 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a big company. It was relatively stable, but there's lots of growth.
And 2 reasons to buy him. He didn't play for an entire season.
No.
And he hasn't been playing for the last few weeks. And with how well James Harden's playing and how well they're playing without him, no one's beating them in the East. They're absolutely in the finals. I would put I'll break my wrist putting my money in the middle of the pot on Kevin Durant and the Nets.
Well, I got a question for you. So this came up with some customers, and it's something that. So I had a couple of new collectors, and I'm trying to explain, like really new customers, and I'm explaining different things, and in explaining it, I'm ending it with like, I don't know why the hobby does this. It's just, whatever.
Illogical.
So I sold a Donovan Mitchell status rookie, the rookie insert, and a relatively common insert.
And status is a lower end product. It's a retail product.
Right.
It's, there's
but I had to explain to him that the status insert is worth less than the base rookie. Even though the insert is far more rare, even though it's a common insert, it's far more rare than the base rookie.
Right.
And so what happens is, like, that status rookie, Donovan Mitchell, might be let's say it's every 5 boxes.
Yep.
Whereas you can get a base card every 2 boxes.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, what is the rarity is so lopsided because it's always worth less.
Yep.
Unless it's a big, hard to get insert, then it's worth more.
Or it's a really premiumly valued product where the rarity of the insert is swallowed up by, like, for example, there's some EX inserts. Because
but those are really rare though too.
Well,
Natural Born Thrillers is a really rare pull.
But I'm thinking of like the Stardate Kobe rookie, like.
It's 20, is that worth more than the base?
It's $20,000 in 10 or something.
And what's the base?
The base is definitely less than that. But
that's actually a really good example because that Stardate's a really easy insert to get.
It's not. It wasn't. It's not serial numbered. I don't know. I never opened it. I don't remember like the pull rate.
You know what? I bet I'm gonna have to look this up. This will be a good thing to follow up on next week.
Yeah.
The Stardate might actually be more common than the base card.
And the base card. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one might not actually apply because if I remember correctly, when you open a box, you got like 2. And then the set's not very big.
Right.
And so maybe you got a Kobe every 4 boxes, but you might only get a Kobe every 6 boxes for the base. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the answer to that. But the Stardate one's really cool looking too. So even if it did apply, that does make sense. But in general, like, are we going to see that start to correct? Where the inserts can be worth a little more at least?
I absolutely love cool 90s basketball inserts more than almost anything in the hobby.
I agree.
And it has very little to do often with – it's not directly connected to the card being super short printed or being serial numbered as much as it's being like a cool,
the
iconic,
art itself.
The art. But now a lot of the time they spent on the rare ones – they made the art that much better, right? Because it was like common. It's like, what is this card?
Well, when I
go nuts. Like,
I mean, it was a modern card, but like I was open 2019 Prism. At your shop.
Yep.
And I got a hot box, and I pulled a Color Blast, and I went, and they're not numbered, and I went, there's a case hit, like immediately. Like this was the first time Color Blast had debuted in the market.
Yep.
And I got a Chris Bryant. I'm like, there's a case hit.
Yeah.
I didn't look it up, did nothing. It was so nice. It was so good. The art was so nice, like you knew it was, and then when I look it up, I'm like, yeah, that's not surprising.
It's literally like a combination of like it's got the best things going for it. It's the player, the art, the scarcity, the like if you can get a high grade one, like all these dynamics make. It's like when people walk into the shop, I always get the question like, so what are you buying and like what makes a card valuable? And it's like, I mean, there are some common truths or principles across the hobby, like. Scarcity is one of them, but it's like there's like something about like the cool factor of a card. Like it's like it's
and
like
it looks
art.
Really nice.
It like looks like you look at it and you're like that is like whoever thought of that took some time to go like Dunkin' Donuts. Let's take that logo and let's make it an insert of a basketball guy dunking, and like you're gonna read it and go like wait dunk and go like. And then you're not even first aware of like,
how
and
about
it's like acetate and it's
How about the what am I thinking of? The weirder card.
The Noise Boys?
No.
That's Jam.
Yeah,
that's Jam.
Jam card.
That's Jam with like
the craziest
with, like,
card.
Smucker's logo.
That's Smucker's.
I know. I got a Kobe. It's a Pop 20. I literally.
Who thought of that insert? Like, I'll get the licensing for Smucker's.
Yeah, let's take like, and then let's do half of them strawberry and the other half grape. They literally do. It's like Iverson's grape and Kobe's strawberry. By the way, I did want to read this title. Did you see that Zion made NBA history? First 50 games, most points ever.
Yeah, I've been seeing that lead up after the first 45 games, so I assumed.
I mean, they compared him with like, Luka and he's above everybody you can imagine. I mean, name somebody.
That's what happens when you're number one. You're above everybody else.
But I mean, some of these guys didn't play as much as a rookie, but like Jordan played right off the bat. Luka played right out. Like, obviously there's some guys who it's like, oh yeah, they didn't start, the first 10 games of their career. Well, obviously they're not going to have the same point total. But what do you think about that? I mean, why is his value so low right now? Like,
So I've had this conversation with customers too. So, and I talked about it last week on the podcast. John Morant's having a slightly better year. Cards are down.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's how it goes, right? So a rookie crop comes in. They get all the hype. The offseason happens. Everybody thinks the hype's going to go. But wait, there's a guy named Anthony Edwards, who's not as exciting as Zion by any means, but he's newer than Zion. And let's put some attention over here. And we're opening brand new products. And so what happens is I was talking to a customer about how the last 2 years, nothing is, I shouldn't say nothing, but a lot of this stuff isn't following natural patterns of the hobby.
Yep.
But at the same time, there are some things that still stay true. And one of the things that stays true is in the rookie season, the rookies are high.
Yep.
And then they go through a 2 to 5 year lull.
Yep.
So they regress.
Yep.
They go to a 2 to 5 year lull, and you wait for them to compile some stats, get some all-star games, win some championships. And then people go, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. I remember, what was his name? Zion? Yeah, Zion's good. Yeah. Because Zion will average 27 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists for 5 years straight. Yep. And you'll become accustomed to it.
Right.
But then you go, oh, man, he's been doing this for 5 or 6 years. Then the card, so this would be like, I would say Giannis, but Giannis started so low anyway.
We actually saw this with Luka in his rookie year. We saw a lull later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of like there was like there was like collector fatigue of like, oh, we're moving somewhere else, and like right now,
I don't even think it's fatigue. I think it's just a change of attention.
Yeah, change of attention.
So
like,
Trey Young is going to get a lull.
Well, but right now, I don't think any of those guys are stealing the attention. I think the guys stealing the attention are Kobe, LeBron, Garnett, Iverson.
I think you're understating the new rookies, though. The LaMelo Ball hoops is $100. I understand that, but LaMelo Ball hoops is $100.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know what to tell you. LaMelo Ball isn't good as Ja or Zion.
That's stupid as can be to me.
I don't know what to tell you.
But now let me say this point. I remember hearing Jeff Wilson on Sports Card Investor talking about this, and it clicked for me. There's actually an inverse relationship between singles and unopened wax.
Mm-hmm.
So at the start, there's a bunch of unopened wax because the product just comes out, and so the first single hits the market, like the first LaMelo Ball, and it's high, right? Now the more boxes get opened, there's going to be a bigger supply of singles and a smaller supply of unopened boxes. So what you're going to have happen is the singles are going to drop, and the unopened wax is going to go up.
It's simple additional supply.
So the supply chain kind of like shifts or whatever. Right. And so I think what you're seeing is a lot of Zion's Prism has come back from PSA now. So like let's say if you graded it let's say you graded it late. You graded it in April or May.
Right.
It's pretty much back. Like this last order of mine.
Well, mine was June.
I bet I only have 2 more orders of like base Zion Prisms coming back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then literally our entire supply
all the Zions are back
that we were going to grade has been graded. And now there's some colored silvers, some higher end stuff that like.
And you'll get collections where you're like, okay, I'm going to grade this one, but it's not going to be a lot.
No, it's not like early on, every order would have 5-6 Zion Prisms. Boom. And then they were either sold or we kept some of them. And so I think part of that is actually affecting the value. Because right now I looked at the last couple of Zion base Prism 10s are in like the 600 range, 630, 615, 650. I remember when they were 1,000.
Right.
And then I remember they came down to probably like 800 or something. So like it seems like they found a bottom here. Like I don't think we're going to see them get down to 500. So I actually think this, to me, if you're bullish on Zion, to use a stock market trade, you think he's got upside. Guys, this guy scored more points than anyone ever in their first 50 games. Like
nobody cares.
I think it's a buy. I think he's a buy. Like
I don't think he's a buy at all.
Why not?
Because I think next year is the start of the buy where you can buy for the next 3 years.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to be able to buy cheaper than this in PSA 10. Because I think people are going to hold them and go like I know a lot of people are like, I'm not selling Zion this low. So I don't know if you're going to – it's like we talked about.
Well, here's the other thing, too. When you go to a card show, everybody has a graded Zion.
But they're not going to sell below this,
common.
I don't think. Not a lot of 10s. I don't see that many.
Fair enough.
Here's why I think people hold 10s and they sell 9s.
Oh, no,
right?
fair enough. But I'm just talking about him overall, not necessarily – I'm not trying to divide it up within grades or anything. But it becomes like – oh, yeah, you got one, too. Oh, yeah, there's another one. There's another one. It's not special anymore.
I totally
if you're
agree
smart and you're a believer, you can wait because it doesn't matter if he has a good season. Now, if he wins if somehow the Pelicans win the NBA Finals this year, then that's a different story. Like that can happen, or he wins the MVP. But if that doesn't happen, he can just keep grinding out these seasons, and you can just be picking them up when it's advantageous to do so.
Sure.
You go to that show, the guy's been holding for a year. And you're like, I'll give you $400 for it. Yeah, maybe the market price is $500, but that dealer might just want to get out of it.
Well, and I mean, a little bit depends on is your play short or long term. Like if you're going to hold them for 10 years, okay, yeah, then you can pick up whatever. But if you want to buy them and flip them in the next year, I think buying right now, I don't.
Do you think he'll be back up to 800 within a year?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
I do.
Hey, we should write this down and check in a year.
Yeah, so today is
1 year.
22nd.
That's PSA 10.
Yep.
Say 10.
Zion 10s will be 800 plus. I'll take the over.
And then what? It's I'll take. I suppose I could maybe take the over too, but maybe not as
really
over.
Take the over. I mean, Luka.
They're 600 right now.
Luka's are 12 or 13, and they're on the low end. He was as high as 2,000. Luka.
So I'll say they're over 750. That's a good return on investment. Buy 600 after fees, you may still make $100.
Yeah, and I think if you're buying them cash, that shows you're going to get for less, maybe $575.
All right, cool. That'll be a fun thing to check up on next year. I'll find some way of trying to remember that.
But I agree. So, like this week, we bought a big collection of LeBron Topps Chromes. We've only ever owned, I think, 2 in the history of our store. We bought 6 of them. We bought 12 of them. 6 of them for us, 6 of them for another guy. And I started realizing, like, that card, like, locally, I don't remember. There's been one time this year at the show in Bloomington that I saw someone with a LeBron Chrome in a case for sale.
Yeah.
And so, like,
oh yeah, you never see them.
But you know what's the crazy part? We were talking about this because I sold a Steph Curry Chrome. The Steph Curry Chrome is numbered to $9.99. The base Topps Chrome, not the refractor, numbered now $9.99. That's the equivalent of the LeBron Pristine Refractor. It's actually half of that amount. LeBron's refractor is numbered to $19.99.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's base is number $99. And you know what collectors are getting really smart on? A couple investors I know locally are really smart on low pop, like, grades. Like, in other words, they're going after not just serial numbered cards, but they're going after serial numbered cards where, like, I want to say that Curry 9 we had, it was a BGS 9. There was only, like, 63 graded higher.
Yeah.
There's only 999.
No, that is the shrewd market. Like, they're the reason why 89 Donruss Griffeys outsell 89 Fleer Griffeys.
Right.
Now the Fleer is a nicer looking card. That Donruss set was an ugly set.
I don't like that purple. Yeah.
It's just like it's not a good set, but it's so hard to get high grade in that set. And so the pop is. I mean, I don't even think I've ever looked up the pop. I've just looked at 89 Donruss my whole life.
Today
and you
I had
can't
a
grade
customer
them.
in store, and actually our last podcast came into play because we were talking about he bought a Trout PSA 10 from me, and I told him, I said, there's almost 5,000 of these 10s out of, what did we say, 9,400-ish.
Yeah.
Something. So like over half of them are 10s. And he was also interested in the Bowman Steph Curry PSA 10 rookie. The Bowman base Steph Curry is actually numbered out of 2009.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And I literally told him, I said, there's going to be half as many. And I looked up the pop report on the 10s. There was 111. I said, so if you're going to look at 2 different cards here, I said, yes, this card is 2x the cost.
Yeah.
But you literally have 1/50th of the quantity in a sport that's more popular globally. Like, these are not apples and apples here. Like, I like my Trout, and I actually personally want a PSA 10 in my collection because I think it's kind of the iconic card of the last 20 years. But I'm like, this card, like, and if you look at it, the Bowman Curry, very rarely do you see a Bowman, like a base rookie, numbered that short.
Yeah, it's not really a thing in Bowman.
2009? Like,
I didn't even know that was the case.
Like, how weird is that? You know what I mean? So, like, you just know, like...
Well, I know why, because that was the last year Topps had the licensing for basketball. Or did they have it one more year after that?
I know they had football through 15. Did they lose basketball?
They lost basketball before football. And so what I think was happening, Topps was phasing out. They were just like, all right, we'll issue the set, but we're not making a ton of this stuff.
Like, if you look at Curry's Topps paper rookies, there literally might be 500,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no,
absolutely.
absolutely.
It still sells, and it sells for a lot of money. But if you're going to sink your money somewhere and you're like, hey, I can buy a Topps paper 10 for 15,000, or I can buy a Bowman 10 for 10,000.
Well, that goes. I mean, we talked about this a little bit when you were here last time. We were talking about what could be the next rediscovery in the hobby.
Yeah.
And this is something that Steve pulled out of Matt's case.
What up, Steve?
He pulled that out of Matt's case. It is a Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Garnett, dual relic, SP Authentic, I think, number to $4.99. Just $10 on the card.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I look it up, going, that must be underpriced. No, $10.
And it's actually game worn, right?
Game worn. And so it's
awesome.
like there's these relics, and we just talked about how me and you were more fans of artistic inserts than relics and autos, but no, I say no to that. And
I say no to a $10, especially when you're like Alonzo Ball relic out of Prism is going to cost $100.
Yeah, and so, but it's numbered at 500. It's 2 Hall of Famers. It's in an expensive product.
Yeah.
Why is it $10? I'm not saying this should be a $2,400 card. I'm just saying it should be like an $80 card.
Or like $50, $60.
$60 card.
Like Matt, thanks. I bought your Kobe relic out of your case for $70 or whatever, just because it was a game worn Kobe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Part of it is, as Kobe autos dry up, it's like, what's the next thing to get? It's kind of like what we've seen with rookies. As rookies get higher, the second year takes the bump.
As
Okay, so
autos
what-
dry up, as rookies dry up,
It's
what's the
relics.
next cool thing?
Yep.
And now we're looking for Kobe's with like cameos
Yep.
of stars. And I actually like that because I always thought those were cooler
Yep.
than a card with a nobody on it.
Yep.
I mean, that's a real thing.
But now the thing is, like, even like a guy was telling me today, he's like, this 1990, hoops Sam Vincent card.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Kobe,
yeah.
Or with Jordan. In the
Well,
picture.
but understand what that is because he's wearing 12 too.
Yeah, he's wearing 12.
It's not just that it's Jordan, although it's a little bit that it's Jordan, but it's because he only wore that number for.
Dude, no, yeah. Let me just test you on this. You will not believe this because you've been around the hobby. What do you think a PSA 10 on that card sells for?
The Sam Vincent,
The Sam Vincent card.
way more than it should.
Obviously.
Because I don't like that card. Like I'm just saying, like I like the cameo stuff, but like, it should be like maybe a $1 base card, right, or $4, maybe a $4 base card. I bet you 10s are $400.
I think
I'm
the
probably
last
low.
10 no, you are a little bit low for sure.
I am low. Jeez,
Yeah, the
I
last-
tripled
okay.
what I thought it was.
The last 10 on Sam Vincent with Jordan in the car.
It's a very common
sold
card,
for
people.
$950.
Oh, I'm a little low.
2 days ago.
Little low.
3 days ago.
I tripled what I thought it was actually.
But here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. One of those sold for $950. Then you had a sale for $500. Then you had a sale for $1,000. So I mean, it's a little like they're jumping around.
Right.
Like, in the last few
We
days.
haven't established what the
But
market
like,
value is.
we just got, and I think this is why they're selling. I just bought 2 sealed cases
Mm-hmm.
of these boxes, wax pack boxes, and we're selling them on eBay. The boxes.
Let's be very clear to people. These are $5 junk wax boxes 10 years ago.
Yeah.
These are not.
This was a
there's
10
nothing
cent
special.
card. Like literally, I would never pull this card out of a
No.
box. I would put it in common boxes.
Yeah.
This card. I wouldn't even put it in Jordan's header.
No,
And
there's no reason
and they're
to.
selling for $500. So literally, like all of a sudden, we listed these boxes for like $80, and they've just been flying out on
$80. No,
These people are gonna rip them and grade this card. Hey, that's good for you. I'm not.
This
doing
is
that.
not hyperbole. They were $5 junk wax boxes at card shows regularly.
You couldn't even sell them. I think
When
put
they got
10
to
on 'em.
15, I was like, wow, the market's really been moving.
Yeah. The year before, 1989.
Yeah.
It's the first year of hoops. It's got Robinson's rookie.
Yeah.
It's got Jordan's or whatever. I looked them up because we had a case of those come in on Saturday. They're $200 a box.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Those were also
those are
$5,
$10,
$8 boxes,
$10
$10
boxes.
boxes. Yeah.
So, and part of it, I think what's driving a lot of it is a card like this
Mm-hmm.
in high grade. People
All
are gonna
right.
rip 'em
Then
and
it's
grade 'em.
like it's worth opening the box, try to find that, and grade it.
And that's I'm not discounting or like minimizing the value of that in the hobby. Like
I
there's a
kinda
place
am.
for that. Like, but what's wrong? What's different than that? Someone trying to get a big chase card of a current player versus going to a vintage box that's actually less money on a card that's got a player who's actually good,
Right.
Michael Jordan. You know what
No, I mean, I do think that might be an exception
Do you
where
want me to turn off your ringer, or
I don't know how. I had my ringer off for 2 years, and then I turned it back on, and now I don't know how to just make it chill out.
Have you ever tried this thing called Google, John?
Sounds like a lot of work.
Oh.
So no, but like that one is a historic moment in basketball, right? What? Are you still chirping? Oh, I can't hear it. But that is a historic moment, like that number change. So I guess I get that, but nah.
Well, it's kind of like last year though when the optic retro with Pippen with
Yeah.
Jordan in the background this big, like just
Dude, I sold that card 4 times for $2. And what I mean by that is I sold the same card 4 times for $2 because I sold it and then I had to modify my listing. And if you zero out the listing, sometimes in the multi-listings, they'll like regen a 0 pop to 1 pop.
okay.
And I didn't know, I was trying to fix it, and I must have put quantity 1. And then I sold it. I was like, I can't find this card. I still didn't know there was a thing, right? And then I fixed it, and then it regened it again. I sold it for a 3rd time. And then I'm like, why is this card selling anyways? I look it up. I realize the story. It was... I could now I know how now I know what it looks like when it does that. So now it doesn't happen anymore. But
Wow.
it's kind of hard to explain why it's repopulating. So I got a little story of a purchase I made.
Nice.
So a couple weeks ago, I was talking to Matt. What up, Matt?
What up, man?
About 2005 basketball. That year, Topps had I referenced it before because I have an 05-06 finest basketball refractor set that I'm very proud of. It took me 15 years to finish it. And if you ever get bored of the story, too bad. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's my greatest achievement in cards. That year, there was a celebrity subset led by Jay-Z and then followed by a baffling assortment of women. Christy Brinkley, Shannon Elizabeth, Carmen Electra. I don't get why it's in there. But Jay-Z had autos.
Do you not know anything about men, John? Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. But like Jay-Z made sense. He had just bought into the Nets.
Yeah.
Right?
Connected to basketball.
Yeah, and so
he's been a fan.
And you know, basketball and rap are closely related. Like I get it, right? And it's cool, right? There's autos in every top product that year. Every top product, including like Topps Style. That was a 1 year.
I do remember.
That was a 1 year. That was a 1 year product.
Yes, I do remember Topps.
So I was talking to Matt about it, and I go, you know, I really. So for the last 15 years, I kept saying to anybody that was listening, like, you should pretty much just buy every Jay-Z that you come across because they were in 50-cent boxes and dollar boxes, right? And you get a Topps.
No one took them as like a legitimate collectible card.
You get a Topps rookie card of Jay-Z for $1 for 15 years. I mean, that was just a thing. I think I bought 1 to 325 at the National for $2.
Yep.
You know, and I found that the other day. So I go, I'm going to get an auto. I really want to get an auto. So there was a Topps Chrome auto for auction. I bid it up to $400.
Wow.
And then I was out. I'm like, I'm still like not great on spending a lot of money on cards. But I'm getting better, and you'll find out in a minute. So I just kind of give up on it. It's been a couple weeks. And then I start talking about this card again.
Yeah.
And because I looked it up, and that Jay-Z Topps rookie card is now $50.
Wow.
The base Topps rookie Jay-Z is $50.
And how does it compare to the other rookies in that year?
I don't know. I really should check that, but I bet he outpaces.
He outpaces LeBron in that.
Right? He probably outpaces Chris Paul.
Yeah. That makes
right?
sense. Yeah, and Chris Paul.
I mean, does Chris Paul sell for $50? I don't think so.
Not, no.
Right?
So literally, he's the best.
He might be the best rookie in the whole set,
yeah.
right? And so I see this, and I'm like, oh man, I okay. So I go back on eBay. There's a Topps Total one, and I said, screw it, I'm buying it. I paid $700 for it. The Topps Total
Auto.
I got it's in the mail. It's coming. It's in St. Paul today, so I'll get it tomorrow.
Classic line. I said screw it.
I said screw it. It actually reminds me of a story. So, we live in a Rambler, and there's a tree maybe 8 feet from the house, in the corner of the house, and lightning struck it, and there was a branch like hanging down from the tree. So it's still connected, but it hanging down. So I got a pole saw, and I shouldn't be handling a pole saw. And so I get it from the rental place, and I can't cut through this thing, right? And so I got to find a way to clean up this language here. Okay, so I'm cutting this thing, and I'm mad. My back, I've thrown out my back, and I'm trying to get this thing down, and the window is there, and I start. Now, I don't know where the branch is going to go once I cut through it, because it looks like it's going to slingshot into the house.
Nice.
And so I'm being careful. And then all of a sudden I go, I must have had a look on my face, because I didn't say anything, but my wife was watching me. And I go, I must have shook my head. And then I go, and I start doing it. And my wife starts screaming, now is not the time for F it. Now is not the time for F it. Damn if that tree didn't hit the house. Yeah. And it all it did was put a dent in the corner piece.
The siding.
Yeah, in the siding. So I got lucky, it didn't go through the window. But I was sick of this branch. So F it indeed.
So now is not the time.
Now is not time for F it.
So there's times where the F it might pay off. Like,
well, so here's the deal.
To
National, I'm gonna have $2,000 on it. I've already put my target price on it. I'm bringing to National, put $2,000 on it. If it doesn't sell, I'll keep it for a year.
Yeah.
That's my play on Jay-Z.
Well, and it's interesting because Jay-Z, it's not very often you have a well, I mean,
doesn't say rookie card on the card.
Hip hop is synonymous with the NBA, but you also there's not like a lot of those. Like I don't think I've ever seen an Eminem autographed card, have you? Like, I can't think. Like, that
He's
would
got
be
some posters
that would
that
be
are doing
extremely
really
popular, right? So I mean, like, the fact that he actually has a pack inserted autograph.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there's a ton of.
I'm going to give you another card
that
talking to a customer about the Jay-Z, and he brought up another card, Topps first pitch insert set. Kendrick Lamar has one.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, I looked it up. He's like $2-3. I bet he's in dollar boxes. So take my 15-year plan. Every time you see him in a 50-cent box, the dollar box, just grab the Kendrick Lamar.
Nice. Well, speaking of that, one of our good customers, Jeff. What up, Jeff?
What up, Jeff?
He sent in a Liam Neeson Batman Returns
cool.
autographed card out of
Oh,
Topps.
nice.
Did that set?
Nice.
You wouldn't believe what these cards sell for.
Well, yeah.
There's
where else are you gonna get one?
Like Liam Neeson. They're super short printed, obviously. So they actually had a Batman Returns like hobby box that you got an autograph out of, and so like, I can't remember who else was in that movie, but
I didn't see that movie, but I'm pretty sure he had a set of skills.
So like, I want to say though, like the Liam Neeson autograph's like $1,000 card or something. Like, it's
wow.
It's really cool. Like, they're really, really sought after.
Well, but again, like, where else are you gonna get a pack
who's the
certified
guy who
auto?
played? Who died? Who played in the next Batman movie? Keith Ledger. I think he has an autograph in there. I think so. There's like, this is post Michael Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
It's the next series, you know. Like,
I don't think there is one, but think if there. Who's the guy that died in the Crow, taping the Crow? Jason. Does that make sense?
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee, yeah. Like, if he had an auto, that thing would be off the chart. I don't think it does.
Well, you know who else? Did we talk about this last week? One of the cards that's actually exploding. The only reason I know about it is a customer brought it to my attention. I have a bunch of PSA. Is Hulk Hogan's rookie. Did we talk about that?
Oh, yeah. Week? No, we didn't talk about it, but I know about the rookie.
1985 Topps.
Mm-hmm.
His PSA 8s are at like $600. They were like a $40 card, $30
yeah.
card. And they're pretty easily gradable. Now, what's interesting is this year you can tell cards are doing well because in 85, 86, so you had golf and
wait, whoa. Cards are doing well this year?
I think they're doing okay. I don't know. Evan, are they?
I don't know. It seems a little hyperbolic if you ask me.
Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here. But like, you have a golf set coming out.
Yeah.
And you have Garbage Pail coming back. Mm-hmm. And you have some of these like these other non-sports, and obviously Pokemon's.
Right.
I mean, I sold out my last ETB, and then I had a customer bring 6 of them in to sell me.
Very nice.
So I mean, like, all this other stuff. I think there's a lot of market to it, like that. Hence the name of your shop, Pop Culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pop culture cards are getting broader than just sports. Even though sports are what I know and appreciate, but other people are like, hey, I'm into my Jay-Z. You know?
Right. Well, actually, I want to go back to that too. So the finest refractor set, you are right, because when I looked it up, that Jay-Z refractor is likely, so like a base card number to $599 sold for $350. And so, and I then saw a refractor. I want to say a refractor sold for $600 or $700. That is now the third best card in the set.
Wow.
All right. So now that leads me to talk about something else that I've been ever since I completed that set. I started going, So I put this set together, right? And the whole time, like literally for 14 and a half years, I sold something else. Literally for 14 and a half years, I kept being preoccupied with the rookies.
Right.
Like, I got to get all the rookies because rookies are the most expensive cards.
And a rookie might blow up.
Absolutely. And so I got to make sure I get through all the rookies. I'm just focused on them. That set, the 3 most expensive cards, unless you want to consider Jay-Z being the rookie.
LeBron, Kobe, and Jay-Z.
LeBron, Kobe, and Jay-Z.
Yep.
Chris Paul's 4th.
Yep.
So I'm starting to be a bigger believer, and this is from a rookie standpoint too, is I would like to see set building come back in the hobby hardcore just as a
investment. A
basket of cards. I'll tell you another set I put together.
Great. I love that you're bringing up this topic. I have a lot to say.
I got another set I'm going to put together.
Yeah.
I did put together 2006 Topps Chrome football refractor set. The best rookie is Devin Hester. The best card is the second-year Aaron Rodgers. The second best card is Tom Brady refractor. I would have never bought those 2 cards and kept them unless I was putting a set together.
Yep.
That was a loaded draft class, and I thought, there's got to be like 2 or 3 Hall of Famers in this draft class. There's one, there's Devin Hester, but he was a cake returner.
Right.
I'm thinking set building got a real place in the hobby if you're a long-term collector and you don't want to miss out.
Right.
So if you collected 2017 football, you got a Patrick Mahomes rookie.
Great point. I think set building as both an enjoyable pursuit in the hobby and an investment is phenomenal. One, because none of us can predict the future.
Right.
So who is going to become the rookie? I'll give you an example. We have a customer who recently liquidated. This is the only person I've ever met that's done this. Every year, he put together the set of Contenders football autos, the entire set. Now, the good news was, back in 2017, because he was doing the set, he was forced to buy Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Now, the bad news was he had to pay a lot more for Mitchell Trubisky than Patrick Mahomes, but they flip-flopped.
There's definitely some of that, yeah.
So you obviously have to pay for the guy's hype in the year that he's good, but the cool part is it forces you to get every guy. So guess what? In 2016, he got an Adam Thielen. Not because he even knew who the guy was, because he had to finish the set.
And he bought him so cheap.
He bought him super
cheap.
Well,
one of the approaches I take, though, too, is because we talked about it earlier. This is somehow working. This conversation is somehow working out.
It's like we actually do this.
It's like we planned this.
It's like it's unscripted a way it is.
So we talked about the lull of the big-time rookies, right? The best strategy is to buy all the cheap rookies to build your set.
Yes.
And then sort of time those big rookies. Because some of them, like, all of a sudden, he blew his knee out. What's up? Let me grab Joe Burrow and put him in my set.
Yes.
Now, you might still be overpaying a little bit, but you didn't pay top end. And then if he pans out, you buy yourself cheap Joe Burrow.
It's awesome. And I actually like that idea. Get all the common guys while they're all cheap because none of them have done anything. And then a lot of times those guys will end up paying for you to pay for the expensive guys.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you know what I mean.
Oh, the Patrick Mahomes paid for the Trubisky and
and the Watson and the Fournette and the Cook and the and
Watson was expensive.
And I think the reason I would pick a set like Contenders in football is it forces the Contenders auto list is the biggest.
Yeah.
And what you're actually trying to do when you're doing that is you're trying to find a guy who's the needle in the haystack, the Adam Thielen, the Tom Brady, who, guess what? Adam Thielen doesn't have another rookie autograph. Yeah. And guess what? Tom Brady has only a couple others other than his Contenders.
What other auto do they have?
He's got a score auto. He has a autographic, Skybox Autographics. I've had it.
I know the autographic.
You saw that one. I had it as a PSA 9. So it's like, it's an on-card auto out of score from 2000. It was like a, how do I put it? It wasn't, I don't think it was a redemption, but there was a rookie set. He also has a autographed Crown Royal, I want to say.
No,
he also
Steve
has
that autographic. What up, Steve?
The autographics is nice.
I'm sorry, wait. What up,
Steve? So within the autographics, there's actually a silver to 250 and a gold, I believe, to 50, which autographics are huge in basketball.
Awesome.
Now they're picking up steam. I think actually one of the other things is some of these inserts that are really big in basketball are going to start spilling over into football and baseball in a way that right now there's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Autographics were always seen as a basketball
heavy,
really great thing, and in football, it was like, they did it for football too.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Did I tell you about the set we bought last week? Oh, I got to tell you about this one. This one's fun. The guy came in. He collected the entire set of 1999 SP Signature Edition. They're all on-card baseball autographs. The highlight of it is Griffey, Nolan Ryan.
I don't know this set.
Mariano Rivera. It's a white set. It's horizontal. Almost all the cards are horizontal.
I don't know this set.
The cool part is the amount of Hall of Famers.
What year is it?
1999. SP
Signature
Edition.
I was a sophomore in college. That's why I don't know this set.
So this set, the cool part about it is, like, it's one of Mariano Rivera's earliest on-card pack-pulled autos.
Right.
The Griffey, I had no idea how much it was worth, but like what we've noticed is we listed almost everybody.
Right.
Even so, guys go after these sets. Like these sets are cool because they're on card. They're a bunch of like Scott Brocious is worth $40. I'm like, why? Like, because someone needs it, So like, to your point, like the autographics, like there's these certain sets that if you look back on them, like I think now is the time to go. What's the modern day set that's going to be collected 20 years from now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like those ones were. Whether it was finest baseball, basketball, refractors, Bowman's best, your finest like you're doing. I mean, I think set building it's one of my favorite
well, it's the
hobby sides.
That was the first set, like real set I ever put together. Like I know 06 refractors, that's not that hard.
And the good news is if there weren't set builders, these guys ripping boxes would have zero use for the rest of their comments.
For like Luol Deng
It's like
You know,
somebody
refractor.
actually wants that because they're actually
So I got a question from Nick Vaggi.
What up, Nick?
What up, Nick? He stopped by the shop. We had a long conversation. Probably should have taped that conversation.
Big shocker.
And
John, long conversation.
yeah, long conversation. Like, if you come to my store, be prepared to have a conversation.
Be prepared.
Like, I like to talk.
See you, Damien.
Have a good one, Damien. I like to talk, and so you can leave anytime you want, but that's going to be kind of hard to break up that conversation. Although I would argue Nick was leading the conversation.
No,
but he had a lot of really good questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of them was, he said it, and I was like, I never thought of this before. I'm curious your reaction. Would you rather have a lower grade of a better card? So this is LeBron. So would you rather have a lower grade of a Topps Chrome LeBron rookie or a higher grade of his Topps rookie at the same price? So what this means is whatever grade the Topps Chrome and the Topps meet, which one are you picking? The higher grade Topps or the lower grade Topps Chrome at the same price? And then there's a variation after your answer is, what if the lower grade is a 10, so the best? So I think there's a difference between a 9 and a 4, or a 9 and a 6, and a 10 and a 6, or a 7, whatever.
I love answering with this. It depends.
Yeah, good time.
But I will say this much. I generally lean towards trying to buy the highest grade I can afford.
In the number grade.
Number grade. Now, I will say there is a time where early on, if we could have seen this, we've had this conversation with Steve. What up, Steve?
What up, Steve?
Topps Chrome basketball in 1996. If you would have seen the discrepancy between Kobe's Topps paper and his Chrome, it would have been better to buy the lower grade Chrome than the higher grade Topps. Now, in this current market, I think they've probably almost evened up. Like, I think an 8 Chrome is going for the same as a 10 paper.
Okay.
And I think for years...
let's say that's the case.
Yeah.
Let's say that's the case. Would you rather have the 10 paper or the 8 Chrome?
Personally, I think I'd rather have the Chrome. 2 reasons. One, I think the supply is significantly lower on Chrome, specifically for that set.
Okay.
Secondly, I think investors the money tends to flow to the most premium card, specifically the most premium card. So actually, I would rather have the lowest grade Topps Chrome Refractor.
Yeah. So then that's the same argument.
So I'm going actually one level higher. Yeah. Like, I would actually try to go higher.
You'd rather have
and go lower.
6 refractor
or
than
a raw, really beat up refractor. Because I actually think the upside on the rarest of the rare is higher. I think
I agree with you. I'd rather have the Chrome in that example. I think the only exception though is if the lesser card is a 10.
Yes.
I think that's where it
it has to be a 10.
If the lesser card is a 10, it's almost like, okay, now I'm going to flip over to the lesser card.
Yep.
But if it's a 9 and a 7, I'll probably take the 7 of the better card.
Good point. I think the
10 just sort of puts a wonkiness.
Let's think about this. Let's use the 96 Topps. So if let's say 2 years ago, you said, I have $1,000, I can buy 10 Topps paper 10s, or I can buy 2, and this is true because I sold a PSA 9 Chrome Kobe for $500, or I can have 2 9s. Right now, value-wise, you'd be better off with the 10-10s. Because that'd be $100,000, whereas I think the 2 9s would be closer to the 9s would be closer to like 45 or 50,000.
So from a money standpoint, even though we kind of in our brain says we'd rather have the nicer card, the money wise says no, take the
10s recently spiked enough, which that's.
But then again, I did say
yes.
at the 10s,
yes,
I'd rather have 10.
And so like I would for sure.
I'd like to see what a 9 back then paper and like a 6 or whatever
like
it was.
Yeah, 7 Chrome or something. Yep. No, that'd be.
I'd be curious to see how that worked out money wise.
I think your point on 10s is right because 10s.
The round numbers.
Everyone,
you can't get any higher
everyone
than that.
wants it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants 10s. Like
right.
Now, I will say this much in this. So we got 6 Topps Chrome LeBrons. The lower grades on those specifically have sold quicker because the price point is
it's so cheap.
more accessible.
You can get it.
Well, it's not so cheap. It's still 5,000, but it's
Oh.
not 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like dollar-wise.
Well, no,
it's
but
like,
that's
yeah.
probably still true on like $100 and then like $20.
Yes.
Well, it's Shaq rookies. I had them at 150, which I recently looked up the Stadium Club 10s, and I shouldn't have looked that up. I sold mine at 150, but the 9s were $30.
Right.
It's like I can buy both series and
Yes.
still have $60 left over. Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
9
I'll
if
take
that's
both
my
then. Yep.
price point in the game.
And I think 9s, people don't even realize this. Let me just say from a grading technical standpoint, a 9 is a perfect card.
Yeah.
It actually is.
It's a mint card.
Literally, like when we use the word mint, we literally mean like if you took that's a coin, that's a numismatic term, right? I mean, minting was something that they did with bullion and coins.
Right.
Like literally, mint means it's come out of production and been uncirculated.
Right.
So like people are like, oh man, I got a 9. I'm like, you got a 9 on a 90s Jordan? Do you realize like I look at 5s and 6s and 7s out of people's books that literally went untouched.
Right.
Like they weren't like damaged. They literally came out chipped and they were off center and they had all the like no 9s. You're literally moving into like the top 20% of that card in condition.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, okay, don't we all want the top 2% or 5%? Sure. Yeah, I mean,
I just thought of one. A 1 Mickey Mantle 52 tops, or a 10. Let's just say they were equal in value, or a 10
like
1953 tops.
Like 50.
Oh,
yeah,
let's
it's
just
gonna be later. But yep,
say
the
they're
equivalent.
equal. Let's say they're literally equal in value. Have the
I
one
would take
rookie.
I would take the 10.
No, I'm sorry. A 1953. I don't want to mix up the whole 10
Okay.
part. A 953 or a 152 Mantle if
the
value
dollars
is
are the same.
exactly equal.
I want the 52 then.
I want
just
the 52.
because it's the most
I want
iconic.
the 52. But if
Yep.
a 1053, maybe I take 10.
Yeah, well, a 1053 is worth like 10 million.
Yeah,
so
right.
yeah.
No,
There are a
but
couple,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I think that answers the question. I think the better card. If all things being equal, you take the better card.
I actually think right now is the time you can actually go out and find a lot of 10s on eBay of either players later in their career or just base cards where like it's really smart to buy a 10 of a well-known player. Like you could buy Michael Jordan 10s for $30, $40, $50 years ago. Yeah. Like buy them all.
Like years ago, you mean like last year?
Like last year. Like you could buy, and now literally there's probably not a 10 Michael. Like today we got a 10 back.
Well,
it was a pop 8 or 6.
The head-to-head 10 is over $100, and that's one of the most common inserts he has.
There's no Michael Jordan 10 should be under $100. I don't think there's any Jordan under $100.
Yeah, there might be some like box set stuff.
I still don't think they're under 100.
No?
Like I would never price them under 100. Every 10 is $100 or more. So today we got one back that was like pop 8, and Mike's like, there's no comps. I'm like
$100.
No, that one specifically was an insert. I'm like $300,
yeah,
$250, and we'll just deal with like, okay, what offers coming because like there's none for sale, none have sold. You know.
Well, that's sort of a different issue when there's no market data. You kind of go to the top at which you think someone might pay for it, and then see what happens. I mean, I have to do that with apparel all the time because a lot of stuff is one-off, and you're just like, what's the most somebody will pull the trigger on?
Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about determining value. I think this is a topic we've never actually hit, like how to research that. We get this question commonly, and I'm sure you've gotten it. Someone comes in, they go, "Hey, John, I got a Calvin Ridley 101 auto." This actually happened to me last week. How much is it worth? Like what do you say to that person?
101 auto?
Yeah. You know.
Calvin Ridley rookie?
Yeah.
Out of what?
XR. This is what it was actually out of.
I was Ridley's kind of hard because he wasn't a big deal until just last year.
But like, no, I'm saying no. I'm not.
500.
No, I'm saying like, how do you coach them on? So I guess.
Oh, how to figure it out?
Yeah, more.
Oh, you're not asking me what I think the price is.
No, I'm saying more like. So I give this I give this advice.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah.
So what you do is, you go on eBay and you find a like item. So now this really works really well with out of 5, right?
Yep.
Or out of 10. And you go, well, there's not another one out of 10. I'm like, so what?
Yeah.
Like, go on eBay, look for that year out of 10, and then and then look for a like product. So Optic and Prism and Select are the same tier.
Yes.
So you can take something out of 5 if you have a Prism, you can look at Select.
Yes.
And if there's a comp for out of Select,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's like, yeah, okay, this is about right. Mm-hmm. And then that's how you figure that out. So if you can find another Calvin Ridley 101 auto that is sold in a like product, then now even if you can't, right, you can still extrapolate. So let's say you go, oh, here's a Topps auto. Oh, mine's better. How much better is it? I mean, it's still an art, but you can do it.
Well, and I'm not saying. Let me make this clear for anyone listening. I don't think either John and I are ever saying we don't want you guys to ask these questions, but I want to help educate people to be able to find these answers on their own. I literally get 2 or 3 phone calls a week saying, "Can you look up the value of this card?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is going to be you're far too dependent on me at this point. I want to help educate you on how to research, and what you're saying is crucial. So if there's not an actual,
I do this all the time
because people say this to me all the time. They go like, yeah, but it's a 101. I go, that doesn't mean there are not easy comparables. Yeah. So, like you said, either 101s of the same player, same year, comparable products, or same product, comparable player.
Well, how about this? You can take a sale from a 1 out of 5 and start extrapolating.
Yes.
So I go, all right, well, the 5 is 500.
Yes.
What's the increase between a 5 and a 1?
Exactly.
Is it 800, 900? Probably not double.
And let's actually throw out a few. So for people listening, a lot of times you're going to go on eBay and you're going to see that someone took a best offer. There's actually multiple ways you can actually find out what the exact offer was taken, which is extremely important when you're starting to spend significant dollars on a card. You're like, well, it says it was $10,000 or best offer. You'd be surprised how many times someone lists a card for $10,000 and they take 5.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you don't just assume it's 9,400. You know. So there's a app for iPhones and Androids called 130 Point. 130 Point. You can actually type in the card, and it'll tell you what the exact price that was taken was. Which is very helpful on best offers, because a lot of times you'll have a card where there's only been a few sales, there's been 2 real low auctions, and there's this real high best offer, and it's like, where do we actually put this comparable? The other app.
Well, one of the things you gotta understand too is when something sells at auction, at auction.
On auction?
Not on auction.
Not on?
At auction.
You're the best.
When something sells at auction, it's generally going to be lower than what you can get if you're willing to set a price and wait.
Right.
That is probably 99% correct if it's really high value and it's got a lot of liquidity to it. So in other words, it's something that's going to get bid up by like hundreds of people at one time. Maybe that's an exception. Right. But so if you see an auction for 50, that doesn't mean you can't get 80 for it if you just list it and wait.
Right. Now, another app that I'm learning from a lot of these guys who are new to the hobby in the last few years, but they're way further advanced tech-wise.
Right.
So the one guy that we sold that curry to, he uses the app Card Ladder. Are you familiar with it at all?
No.
So Card Ladder.
Oh, yes.
Gives you the ability to pull up a card, and a couple other things it does is it actually charts it much like a stock. It'll actually give you.
This is where they can put in their cards to build their database, right?
But it's more than that. It's also, I can pull up, like, for example, I'm looking right now at Lucas Simonik, the guy for the Spurs. Yeah. I'm looking up his PSA 10 Prism rookie. It's actually telling me the pop report right on here. So cool. I can see 147 pop.
But not only can you build your collection, but you can literally see prices.
Not only that, it tells me the market cap.
Oh, nice.
So it tells me what if all the cards graded at 10 sold at the current market, what is that dollar amount? Sometimes one of the big, I think, insights that a card's going to move is the market, like a real low popped card. The market cap is so low that all it takes is a couple sales to move. Do you know what I'm saying? The market cap has a lot of room to expand.
Well, I
versus
understand, like, market cap. I mean, so there's some people that don't do stocks. So all market cap is the last sale of a stock times the number of outstanding shares.
So what's the total?
Shares that are being held outside the company.
Yep.
And the last sale of the dollar, the market cap or the value of the entire company is 100. Now, the value of that company is not 100.
Right.
Because the next sale could be 95 cents or the next sale could be $1.05. It doesn't move that fluid,
Yes.
but it gives you sort of a current snapshot of the value.
And it
So
also
what
lets
they're doing
yeah.
here is the last sale is 100. There's 3 of them. Market cap $300.
And what it's kind of telling you is like I think there's times where you can look reversely at the market and say,
Is reversely a word?
reversely? You can
Reversely.
look at it in reverse. You can.
I think it's a word.
I think I'm gonna help. I'm gonna explain what I mean, and that might actually be more helpful. So
I'm
there's
gonna
times
Google that
where
when we're done.
I look at a card and I go, okay, this is the market cap. There's how many are, and then there's times where I look at it and I go, LeBron James's Topps Chrome. It's his classic card.
Mhm.
The market cap on that card could easily be $100 million one
Right.
day, and I look and I see it's at 30, and I go, there's upside there.
Mhm.
In other words, if all of them are out there, they all get graded, and everybody who collects or invests in LeBron wants one, what's the potential? Whereas if
Right.
I look at the cap and it's already $100 million, and I go, I don't know if there's that much money to go into that card.
Mhm.
Like, for example, if you look at let's say the Fleer Jordan, you're like, well, that market cap is going to be one of the biggest market caps of any card ever, right?
Right.
So, like, if you look at it and you go, it's actually not as high as I thought it would
Mhm.
be. You know, like, I think it can also tell you how much money could flow into
I think you
position.
brought this up before in a previous podcast, but you also talked about like market cap could be useful. I can't remember what you said, but like if a guy doesn't have a lot of cards,
right?
and you're like, and he's selling really last sale was really high, but there's only like 5 graded cards, then
Yeah.
you're like, well, sure, it's selling high, but the second you double that double
Yes.
the number of shares, double
Yes.
the number of cards to 10, which is only 5 cards,
Right.
and it's not that rare of a card,
Right.
that price is probably gonna crash.
And I think that is super helpful on an older card where you go, this card's had 20 years to get graded.
Right.
You know what I mean? Most of them
Well,
have
beam,
been graded.
beam teams are one of those.
Yep.
Beam teams are actually not hard pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the reasons why beam teams have gone up so much in relative to other inserts
Yep.
is that nobody was grading them
Right.
because they weren't worth that much.
Exactly.
And now that they're worth more, people are grading them more. And I'm very curious to see what happens to the price over the
And
next
I'll
3
say
years.
this much. I'm not telling you because I've had a lot of customers grade this card recently. I'm not saying not to do this
Right.
necessarily. But when I see the 1990 Fleer
Oh, yeah.
base Michael Jordan
Yeah.
in 10 selling for what it's selling for, I'll just tell you the market cap. Market cap on that card right now is 3,600 tens.
Yeah.
I've personally, on behalf of customers and myself, sent close to 100.
Right.
That tells
Maybe
me
30 or 40 or 50 or 10.
so.
Because we're not sending stuff we think are 7s.
No, I'm like the bottom's gonna be some 8s probably,
Yeah.
hopefully mostly 9s and a few 10s.
Yeah.
Like that tells me, okay, the market cap on that card right now is 3,265,000. That seems too high.
Can the hobby absorb
No.
another 3 or 4 million?
No,
when that doubles?
because I'm never gonna hoard 10s on that card.
No,
like
there's no reason to.
I'm gonna try to buy and hold every Fleer Jordan I can afford to buy and hold,
Yeah.
but not a 90 Fleer, like a rookie.
But
Fleer.
then the argument might be, what if the trend is to have every base Fleer Jordan, and so everybody needs that 90 Fleer in their collection?
Everyone will
Because
need
they're
one.
doing the Fleer set.
The registry, or they're doing the registry with Jordan.
Is there a Fleer specific registry?
No,
for
there's
base
there's a Jordan registry.
There
and
might
that's
become
the card,
one.
and that one's there could be a Fleer.
What if there was a Fleer only because the Fleer is the rookie card, and then you want to get the Fleer of every year?
The problem is there's no Fleer now, so I don't see that trending.
Well, that means
through.
it's a collection that's static. It's
Yeah.
something that can be obtained and then ended. That's not a bad thing for a set. I mean, that's what a
Yeah,
set is.
it stopped in 13, but
No, I
yeah,
mean, like, if
whatever.
they were like, hey, Top came out and said, we're going to add to that 05 finest set. I'm like, no, I'm done. Like,
No, but like what I'm more saying is like right now, the fact that Tops existed in 51 and
Mhm.
52 and they still exist, people are adding to
Oh,
their
true.
Tops.
But you could just, it's
Which
literally,
makes it
what
more-
I'm
yeah.
I sort of envisioning is an active year Fleer registry.
Right. Yeah, no, it's so I think like on that card, I think card ladder. There's a ton, guys. One of the cool things about the hobby is there's so many people. By the way, did you hear? Barstool Sports
Mhm.
just talked about buying.
I love the owner.
What were they buying? They're buying They're buying something related to the hobby. Who is it? Somebody. Oh, I just had this conversation. I'm gonna think of it in a second. Yeah, do you want to Google that and just see?
So while Evan's Googling that, let's look at the market movers. I'm curious. I have no idea. You're like, there's no way you're gonna ever understand
this
who's
is
on
the
this
stupidest list of players that are moving this
list. Is
week.
it stupid or shocking?
No, it's both.
Both.
Okay, so do you want to start with number 10 or number 1?
Go with number 10.
So number 10 is probably the least stupid, maybe. Rhys Hoskins. I mean, I like Rhys Hoskins.
Oh, really?
Philadelphia Phillies. I mean,
that's good because
Baseball.
I don't like Rhys Hoskins, and I want to sell every Hoskins I have.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
Never
been a fan.
Don't think he'll be.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
What do you think, Evan? Rhys Hoskins? Long term? Too old. Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
So the next one is a hockey player. He's the only hockey guy in here. A guy named Cody Glass, who is an Upper Deck Young.
Oh, no. I sold a whole bunch of Cody Glass records.
Nice.
Okay. No, not nice. I sold them. They're already gone.
This guy, this next guy is a guy we've talked on Market Movers. And look at him moving.
Yeah.
We've talked about him 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera tops traded 10s.
And again, I ask you every time, the hits are going to come first.
Wow.
Hits are coming this year, home runs come next
Miguel. So I had a guy in the shop today that said he's been buying Miguel. He's been
all the way around.
He's been buying Miguel Cabrera paper 10s.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was buying them at
right.
4,500. Last sale on that card looks like 1,100.
Wow.
1,100. So
they were really
done
cheap
really
2
well.
years ago.
Yep. Next on the list is Mitchell Trubisky, which I assume is because they think he's going to go somewhere else.
No.
Or
yeah, I want to go back to the Miguel Cabrera thing.
Okay.
So you know how I talked about Jay-Z in
Yeah.
this episode and how for 15 years I'm like, I should really just buy all the Jay-Z's. I've been saying Miguel Cabrera for 10 years. Just buy Miguel Cabrera.
How many have
so
you bought?
cheap. 0.
Awesome.
I don't listen to myself when I say this stuff. So one of the messages
I bought one last show.
But one of the messages I would say is if you're and the person listening, or me, or you across from me, if you're saying that to yourself over and over again, everybody should just do this. You should probably be doing it. Just get off your butt and buy them.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. I said that about Corey Seager for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's way undervalued. He's still undervalued, by the way. But I'm going,
Corey Seager's amazing.
What the heck?
Corey Seager is really, really good.
Yeah. And
he
nobody
actually, behind Mookie Betts, is probably their next best player.
Mm-hmm.
Bellinger? Betts, Bellinger, and Seager?
Seager might be
top,
better than Bellinger,
he might be,
to be honest with you.
Man, though, Corey Seager, and it's that injury 2 years ago that, like, just everyone just kind of was like, it almost caused this feeling
never,
like,
when he got called up, he didn't even break out. It's so very weird.
Dude, where did he rank in the MVP voting last year? Wasn't he, like, super high? I
Well,
want to say Corey Seager was
MVP,
but I want to say
he might have been top.
I want to say he was like top 5 or 6
Oh,
on the season for
maybe.
MVP too. Good call on Seager.
All right, so Trubisky.
Trubisky.
Well, no, because I didn't buy into him. I didn't listen to myself.
Trubisky, and then Paul George, which
has he been playing? That's weird.
he's on the Clippers, and the Clippers. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
trying, or do you think this is just people trying to guess who the next guy is?
I don't know, man. Paul George's been around long enough that he hasn't played well in the playoffs, so that's part of the knock on him. Part of it is for me is I beat this drum pretty good, but like I'm going for the top 1 or 2 guys.
Right.
Like I'm not constantly trying to like Paul George is never going to be the face. Like,
but knowing this means if you're holding Paul George,
no, you can still make money on Paul George. Like and the way to make money on Paul George actually right now, and I think this is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is
playoffs?
They're going to buy him and sell him in the playoffs.
No.
And so, like, the Clippers are going to win a series or 2.
And you got to buy him early enough.
Yeah. You don't want to buy him, like, the week before, right? Because then you're
Who's
overpaying.
next?
Kendrick Nunn, who's, played well rookie
Nunn's
last year
really
for the
cheap,
Heat.
though. I think he's a mover because of percentage.
And I think, so these are all based on percentage.
Yeah,
and
so Nunn, so I really like Kendrick Nunn, but he is a horrible defensive player. But he scores a lot, which is good.
Yeah. The next guy, I really like him. I had him, I think, on my list last week. I don't even know if we mentioned
baseball.
him.
All right.
I would say arguably, other than Byron Buxton, the best base runner, maybe the second fastest player in baseball. Plays for a team that is where you went to college. Trey Turner.
Oh, yeah.
Trey Turner actually.
Who?
Now he doesn't have the power side.
I know he's that fast.
He's I think home to first the fastest in baseball.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know. I mean, he's a nice player. I don't.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I don't see anything particularly special about him.
Good average.
Yeah, high average. But
Yeah,
I
but the
would
problem
guess
with high average guys in baseball and cards is they have to be high. They have to. If they're not going to get the power, if they hit 15 home runs, you got to be hitting 330.
Well, let me just show the base. His 2016 Topps Chrome base raw average sale is at $8. It's up 50%, so it's just a $4 card.
Yeah.
You know? And then his average PSA 10 Topps Chrome, it's up to 100. And that's up 60%. So in other words, it went from a 50
nowadays,
to
$100 Topps Chrome rookie is not that big of a deal.
But it's what it's saying is like to buy a starting player at 40, I guess was fairly
It moved to
reasonable.
100.
Moved to 100.
Seager was 9th in MVP last year.
Yeah.
Ninth.
Oh,
Yeah,
top 10. What's up?
Top 10. He's Seager.
I didn't know that.
Seager's
He's
a good
I don't think he was, because you had Mikado, Tatis, and Freddie Freeman who won it. That's 3 right there.
Yep.
And then
Betts was higher
guys.
too, probably.
He was behind Yastrzemski, so.
Wow.
Just Gremsky, man. Like he kept
double
hitting,
the
and
balls.
I'm going. But that's the guy where like don't get too caught up in that nobody prospect that breaks out. He's probably not gonna last, and it's so rare that it happens. It's just if you're holding, sell.
Yeah.
Like I'm selling
Like,
every.
can you think
Gremsky.
of like a Hall of Famer that was that like
Who just
prospect?
broke out and is a Hall of Famer?
and then like literally just
I
kept
really
on it.
can't. Who
Like in
broke
the
out
modern
late
era.
and he was a junkie? I mean, Mike Piazza.
I mean,
And then
was Justin Morneau a big prospect? Not
yeah,
really.
you're the first rounder.
Was he first rounder?
You're the first rounder.
Okay.
You're the first rounder. He was a catcher.
Moved
So that was
positions,
one
yeah.
where like I would have
Position.
said, screw that guy because he's a catcher because
Yeah.
of position
Like
from last week.
hey, Craig Biggio, same deal, right?
Yeah.
Started as a catcher and moved. And
Although Craig Biggio was actually a decent. He might have been like the catcher that I would have said, he's a good catcher.
talk about a great guy to collect. Very undervalued as a Hall of Famer, Craig Biggio. You could probably buy his autos for like $20,
Yeah.
$10. I
Oh,
don't know.
absolutely.
It's just like
Just nothing.
nothing.
We should go through.
Jeff Bagwell, same
We should
deal.
have an episode where we go through a list of Hall of Fame autographs and then tell you like cards and the price for their
And the
auto,
price.
and then have people go, whoa, and to go out and all of a sudden price movers are like every low level Hall of Fame auto will be number
Just
one.
number one. I love it.
All right, who's next? Trey Turner.
Next, this makes no sense. Rajon Rondo, I just don't know why. He's got no 6 Topps Chrome.
Do you think he is culturally relevant with him playing for the Lakers? And then like one of my favorite videos is the guy where he's walking in the store and he's like, Chris Paul, what's up, my man? Chris Paul. He like gives a handshake and he looks so angry at this dude. And like, I don't know. It seems like I'm always hearing his name.
Well, he played really good for the Lakers in the bubble.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't get
is
it.
it more
but
him being connected to LeBron and being like they're gonna make a deep run?
yeah,
Like, he's
yeah,
undervalued.
probably.
He's on the Hawks.
Oh, they didn't bring him back.
They traded him?
He's on the
Oh,
Hawks.
I thought he was still on the Lakers.
He's on the Hawks injured.
That makes
Oh,
no
Oh,
sense.
that really
Yeah,
doesn't make any
that's a
sense.
big game.
I
All
don't
right.
understand. So the market makes no sense. to me.
The market thinks the Hawks are making a
number
run.
1 makes a little sense. We talked about him. You guys didn't like him because he's a catcher. Joey Bart, number 1 pick.
Joey Bart, yeah. I'm hard sell on Bart.
His 2019 Bowman Chrome PSA 10 is selling for $45, which is up like 80%.
Is he still too young or is he going
No, he's too
to
old.
get called up?
Too old.
How old is he?
He's 24.
He's 24? Oh, I thought he was like 22. Yeah, so it's,
Posey's coming back.
well, Posey's going to play first base, so I assume.
No.
Oh.
Now let me say,
No? Posey's
Don't-
going to catch? All right, maybe I'm a hard buy on Posey if he's still going to catch.
No.
And he keeps thinking, well, he's making a Hall of Fame bid even better.
well, let me say this.
I don't know.
Some of these are percentages. Now I think these price movements by card are almost more interesting.
Okay.
The last 7 days.
What do you got?
Number 1 is Robert Pawson, which I like. The A's prospect.
Hard sell.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
He is going to toil in the minors like every single high prospect, as well as Yasan Dominguez, and he's going to be just hanging out in the minors for 3 years, and everybody's going to forget about him. You can reacquire later if you like him. You can reacquire 2 years from now.
It's a good point, but I still think he's.
No, I'm not arguing whether he's going to be good or bad. I'm just arguing you can sell now, reacquire for cheaper in 2 years.
Well, let me skip a couple guys.
That's an
and
easy
go
one.
down to number 3, 4, 5, 6 is Bayron Lora, who is the number 1 sought after prospect this 2020 Bowman Chrome.
Oh.
Rangers. He's up. He's up 180%.
I have done no research
on his Bowman Chrome base. His Bowman Chrome base raw is $15.
How old are they? Yeah, hard
Super
sell.
young.
I don't even have to know who he is. These are all hard sells when they're at the top of the market.
So John is buying Miguel Cabrera and selling everyone else.
No.
But
when he's 18, the number of times that a 19 or 20-year-old gets called up is really rare. Like, I know we had Acuna and Soto, or it's Wander Franco, who's been on the top 100 prospect list for 4 years straight.
When did Joe Mauer get called up? How old was he?
He was
20.
Was he 20? He might have been.
19.
He was a young catcher. Like these are, but
he was number one overall pick.
But my point being, these are aberrations. Yeah, 2000 and.
But think about this: Bayron Lora is from the Dominican, right?
Yeah.
And he's been playing baseball
since
he was
a baseball player from the DR.
No, but what I'm saying is those guys seem to be more readily
fair enough.
able to.
But if you look at it, like people don't get called up before.
Mauer was 21.
Okay. People don't get called up before they're really 21 or 22. That's not a thing.
But here's the question, John: if he's the minor league player of the year this year, his cards are going to
nobody's going to notice.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
What do you think? Do people go, "Oh my God, he's minor league player of the year"?
Wander Franco, why are his prices up? Oh, he played so well. Oh wait,
top 100 prospect.
He might be the number one prospect next year.
No, but what I'm saying is. If the and if he is, then you're going to see some. But even Wander was selling cheap 3 months ago.
If they win the minor league player of the year, you don't think they're going to be the
No, nobody cares. Nobody gives a flying crap about the minor league anything.
Adley Rutschman.
Nobody pays attention.
He was the college player of the year.
Nobody pays attention.
He was the college player of the year.
That's not a thing.
It is a thing.
It's not a thing.
John.
He's like, oh, he has the best power in the Sally League. Like, I know that, and Evan knows that. But we're weirdos that know that kind of stuff.
Obviously, yeah. That's
you think the basketball guys that are coiling in the Sally League trying to fight. And by the way, that's a hitters league, so I gotta counteract the numbers and lower them because this other league is a pitchers league. They're not doing that.
Interesting guy in number 2, switching topics, is because John's just gonna rant.
Switch topics. Interesting.
Well, I'm going to come back to you and tell you Bayron Lora and Robert Pawson were hard buys.
How about, okay.
We'll just write that down.
No, we can do this literally next year.
Okay.
And they will be selling cheaper than they are
Robert
today. Maybe not Lora. I don't know what Lora's price is, but Pawson for sure.
Okay.
And
Pawson,
and Dominguez.
Pawson raw, $8 average.
Pawson and Dominguez.
Chrome raw, 8, and Lora 15.
Oh, 15 for what?
A raw Chrome.
Chrome? Yeah. We can put Lora.
Put those in. Yep.
Yeah, because what happens is even Wander Franco 6 months ago you could get for half off. It's only when they're about to make their debut, and then when they make their debut, this is the same that happens for every player. The exceptions are like Vladimir Guerrero, Mike Trout. You could get for like nothing before he got called up. I mean, relative nothing. I mean, that's just how it is. Sell the best, the top 3 or 4 prospects right away, and then if you really like them, require.
Can you imagine if the Rays make the World Series again with Franco?
Oh, dude, my cards are probably long sold by then. I might keep one. I got a story. Are you ready for a story? I didn't even write this down.
Let's go.
So we go to Iowa. All right, I buy the Wander Francos at the show.
Mm-hmm.
We are in Iowa for the weekend, and we go back to Iowa. I look in the refrigerator. I buy a bunch of Kickstarts because that's what I drink because I don't drink coffee.
Okay.
And I put the Kickstarts in the duffel bag, the pocket with the Wander Franco. I proceeded to leave my bag in the car for 2 weeks, and I brought it in last week, and I still didn't unpack it, right? So yesterday, I'm so
Wait,
late.
hold on. You left your graded cards from the show in your bag for 2 weeks?
Forgot about it. So it's just $1,000 worth of Wandas. Anyway, so my cell phone charger was in the bag, and I just was charging it at the store. And my kid's like, I want to play Among Us on the phone. And I'm like, I'm at 2%. I'll go get the power cable. I'm like, Annie, and my wife's name's Annie. I go, Annie, I left the bag a week ago in the kitchen. Where's the bag? She goes, I put it in the basement with your stuff. I'm like, how dare you move my stuff? It should be in the kitchen on the floor where it belonged.
For an entire week.
Well, no, it was there for a week, and then she moved it. How dare she? So I walk down, I get it, I open it up. There is an exploded can of Kickstart. Completely sliced. The top is off and completely sliced down the side. With my charger and my 3 Wander Francos in the side pocket. By the way, no Kickstart to be seen. All evaporated and everything. Very sticky mess. But here is what I'm going to tell you.
Did you have them team-bagged?
Team-bagged, they're a very good product. And for 3 cents, they protected my 1,000. For 9 cents, the 3 team bags that protect $1,000 worth of water, or $700 worth of water, 9 cents is completely worth it. So, everybody, if you have graded cards, put them in team bags. They look, there's nothing wrong with them.
And I'll tell you another reason to use team bags way too often do people bring in a slab they want to sell and it's scratched.
And
I'm
you
like,
just like, I got to reslab
And I'm
this.
like, to be honest, I don't want to wait 3 months to get it reslabbed. Like, first thing I do when I get graded cards back is I team bag them because, like you said, I can replace the team bag for 3 cents. And honestly, I replace my team bags on my graded cards regularly if I'm taking them to shows and taking.
Well, here's the other thing too. Team bags don't really scratch up. Like they don't scratch up at all, really.
They
I mean, they can kind of get dirty,
or they can get crumpled, or like but the perfect fits are better because there's less.
Absolutely.
They're tighter, so they're not getting wrinkled.
But I assume even perfect fits, like probably not. But they might get dirty a little bit, and then you want to replace them. But yeah, they don't scratch up. That's part of the reasons why people have them top loaders and team bags. So the team bag doesn't scratch up.
Exactly.
So you're good to go.
We should get to a question.
Yes.
All right. Ooh.
Yeah, what do we got for questions?
This is from last week. We missed it. We were talking to
How dare you, Evan?
Prospects.
Oh, yeah.
Let me find it. So, Atomic Zombie Android.
Yeah, what up? Thank you.
He says, I know it's early, but first impressions, did they make too much 2021 Top Series 1? So I was thinking about this too.
Yes.
And I actually got some info on that. So last year, 2020 Series 1 print run, 352,624. So that's like taking the golds out of, all the numbers.
The base
times
tops.
Hobby and the hangers, everything compiled.
And how do you think they came up with this number?
Well, I think it's just taking all the numbered stuff, adding that up, and then because I mean, like when you get the hobby cases, how many are made, cards. I don't know.
So you're taking I got this many golds. The golds are numbered.
Yeah.
Let's extrapolate how many base cards we get, and then just do the math out. Yeah.
And then you can take, how many boxes were made, how many, whatever.
Right.
Cases.
It's not a perfect number, but it's about right.
You can round up or round down, whatever. We'll say 350. And then same thing for this year was 677,750. So almost double. I mean, 1.8, 1.75. Round up, round down.
So what do you think? Too much?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like that supply, this demand.
I'll put this in a little bit of context. I got 2 hobby boxes and 1 jumbo. Yeah. So in terms of demand, it's eaten up, at least by people ordering it.
Well, I think a lot of it was retail, though. I think they put more into retail.
Okay.
Because of all the complaints and stuff, whatever. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's definitely higher. Yeah. So then we go back to what Clint was talking about earlier, is Christian Pache 2021 or Bo Bichette 2020. Yeah. The Bo Bichette is half as much.
Well, that's another thing, too, is basketball going to be the same. With the rookie class not being as good, is it going to be really weird,
No, that would be a different company, Panini versus Topps.
I mean,
but you could see maybe extrapolate a market.
Yeah.
We were trying to do. How far back do we have numbers on that? Do you think what do you think the 2011 series?
I think it was low. I mean, so I would say
100,000.
Well, I mean, if you're saying, what were you saying last year was
377.
377. I mean,
how much this year?
678.
So
I mean, maybe there was only a couple 100,000. I mean, let's put this in a little context too. 1987 Topps baseball. There was 1 million of each card.
So, I mean,
1 million of each card. That's 800 million 1987 Topps cards. Yeah. Especially if you add like the glossies, then you can bump it up another 8 million. We're almost there. I mean, we're 70% of that.
It's weird to me to think then 2011. Now update's different, right? Because update's going to be a smaller.
Update's last.
Okay, so Trout, we see 10,000 graded by PSA.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably another, 5,000-6,000 by BGS.
How
many do you think are? So there's
well,
probably
here's the thing about that.
less
Like
than 100.
Trouts are almost a guaranteed grade,
I know.
so you can almost extrapolate production runs from that. Like who's not grading a decent trout, right?
Well, 2-3 years ago, I didn't grade them unless they were like 9s.
Right.
But now.
But as we go on, we're gonna get like, we can say, let's say it's only 10% the run. That's 100,000 cards. Or 150,000 cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's 10%, which is, I'm sure it's more than that.
2020 update was more than Series 1. 374,000.
Wow. Did they give any numbers for Chrome? Chrome update?
Chrome wasn't on here.
Yeah, I'm curious about Chrome update with it being a Target exclusive.
Well, that's interesting though, because why would and it's such a weird season with no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the timing
like
of it's
start
interesting
it was,
too.
Yeah.
What's interesting is I've actually seen less base come into the shop
Yeah.
from 2021 tops than previous years. I remember in 2017, people just like, hey, here's all like,
With all
will
my
you
base.
trade me like a guy ripped a whole jumbo case. Will you trade me all I kept? He kept 5 players. And I remember him giving me all his Aaron Judge tops.
Yeah.
I had like rainbow foils and golds, and like months later, I was like,
Just wanted a little more wax.
I just needed some more wax. Whereas I haven't got any of that, so I don't know if people are just handling it different or they all have outlets.
Well,
for their
no.
tops
Here's the thing: the base, go back, base, high grade base tops is selling extremely well.
Yeah.
Why would you trade that in?
So people are just holding it
Yeah, I think
longer.
more people are holding.
Yeah,
it.
people
gonna
and
wait to
people
see
are
how those
listening to
people-
us. Stop
those-
selling your nothing,
Unless you're
your
selling
50
it to
cent Kyle
Absolute
Lewis.
Sports Cards and 7. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop selling your Kyle Lewis Series 1 Topps rookies for 50 cents, or in a bulk lot where you're putting.
But John, what if someone doesn't collect that way? Let's say they
No,
literally
absolutely.
collect autographs.
No, but I'm
and
saying
they-
I'm
okay.
talking about from a purely
Yep.
objective math. But
'Cause
you're
you
right. There's some
understand,
people that
not
just
every
collect hits.
collector's like me. Like I always tell people, like not everyone has the taste I have.
All right.
Which is great. I mean, gosh, that'd be a scary thing if.
Well,
like, everyone
that's
likes,
always my caveat.
Yeah.
Look, man, you got a high income job, you love to rip, and you're not going to maintain a system of Series 1 rookies. You're just going to keep the hits and the players you like. You're going to trade it in, get a little
I
credit,
know
buy
guys
some more boxes.
I know a guy
Yeah.
who you used to rip until I told him. He used to throw away his base cards.
Oh, stop
He
throwing
would
away
sit
cards.
there with
Don't
a
do that.
garbage can next to him.
Evan's dying.
And I'm just like, why? I said, literally, I'll take him for free. He goes, it's too much work. I'm like,
It's too much work.
and I think
I'll
in
give
his-
you $5.
And I think in his mind, he's like, well, I'm lowering the print run. It's like, not.
I'm
you're not
lowering
doing
it.
enough. You're not
You know,
doing enough.
let me ask you a question. So I've always thought of this.
That's hilarious.
What do you think about a charity fundraiser? Right? So we get massive numbers of junk wax cards. 90 Donruss, 90 Fleer, 90 Topps. There's a pattern here. 1990. 91 Fleer. Right. 1 year later. What do you think about a charity where we get like a big wood chipper and then we go live and then we're like, for every donation to this charity, we're going to dump like 1,000 junk wax singles in there. And then we raise money for charity and we lower the print run of all this junk. No? What do you say no for? Clint's shaking his head no. Why no? We raise money for charity and we lower the print run eventually.
No, I love charity. I just don't know if people. would
He
be
hates
entertained by
charity.
that. I mean,
Why not? Why not, right? 91
Yeah.
91 Topps, we pulled all the chippers.
I'd
So all of
rather
a sudden, all the commons are worth more than
that triggered
chippers.
thoughts of Fargo. I feel like maybe Fargo. I think we need to burn them. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, but
The
like,
wood chipper, why
I already
so
thought of that. Like,
graphic?
you have all these cards. What if, like we sell big mountains of commons on K-Bed.
Yep.
And, like, I got, like, 2 in K-Bed. Like, one of them is a whole lid full.
Yep.
That's, like, 4,000 cards.
Yep.
And we'll get, like, $50 for it. What if I can get a $100 charity donation?
Right.
And then it'll be just, it'll be fun content.
Well,
and
let me throw something out there. Back just to Series 1 for a second. So if it's a 700 card set, and there's 360 or 650,000 of each, right?
Yeah.
That's around 450 million cards.
About
of
half
Topps
of
Series
all
1.
the 1987 Topps cards.
But let me say this. That seems like a lot. But if you figure, let's just say there's 1 million collectors of Topps Series 1.
Yeah.
That's 4,500 cards each.
Yeah.
That's like a monster box of.
Yeah, but it's not even. It's not even that. It's because commons don't matter.
Yeah.
What it is I don't mind having 20 Acuna rookies.
Right.
I don't mind having 100 Bo Bichette rookies. It's like you go over to Evan, like, do you have double the Bo Bichette? Got like 1 or 2 doubles, like, right? So I mean, in terms of the key rookie, that isn't a lot because if one's good, 400 is better, right? And so it might not be that much.
I'll say this much: if the amount of collectors have tripled this year, which I think is
you think it tripled this year? I thought it quadrupled since 17.
I think it's tripled this year.
Wow!
If it's tripled
that would be
this
nuts.
year, the double production run is actually
going
to feel like less than 2 years ago.
Again, I got 2 hobby boxes and a jumbo, and last year I got a half a case of jumbo and a case of hobby.
And the evidence to me is like, I think part of it too is what we're experiencing, and this is maybe just from my little perspective of the shop or whatever, but I think with social media and the amount of platforms to sell and move things, there's it's so like there's so many outlets. So like maybe I'm just used to Top Series 1. By now I would have 2 monster boxes full.
Right.
For people to
I haven't
fill
gotten
sets.
any on yet.
And I have 0. I maybe have half of 1 row or something. And it's like, so maybe they're keeping it. I don't know. Maybe there's less to go around. I mean, we still have some boxes on the shelf, but it doesn't feel like
it's weird that they're not selling you a common. Like I get it from the rookie standpoint, but if they're not even moving the commons.
I'm not even because I wouldn't usually be getting all the rookies necessarily, or maybe I'd be getting the guys they didn't think were.
Right.
You know. But maybe we're not far enough past.
Yeah, it came out
date.
2 weeks ago.
So maybe we got a couple more weeks, and I'll be able to like.
I remember Topps was a thing I was always buying. I was just like, okay, let's turn this in. Let's turn this in.
I mean, Top Series 1 for us like really marks the end of the football season and the beginning. Like spring's coming. Hopefully, it's going to be above 0 here in Minnesota. And now it's 40 today. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah, there we go.
Like there's hope on the horizon. I'm gonna actually.
I didn't wear my parka today.
Yeah, I didn't have to freeze.
All right, I think we're wrapping up. Got anything?
I think we covered the questions.
What about you, Evan?
Thanks again, guys. Subscribe. Hit that like button.
And if you know somebody who's a collector and you like this podcast, just literally like say, hey, I like this podcast. Listen to it. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I think we're doing an all right job.
keep sending your questions, comments. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.